All right. So this is Maya Plotkin, and I am calling the Friday, March 20th meeting of the School Building Project Committee to order. I recognize that Western Media Center, which is live streaming today's meeting to provide real-time public access to the activities of the School Building Committee. And to facilitate that, if every time you speak, if you can identify yourself, that way Western Media will know who's speaking. I know it's a little bit of a more cumbersome process today. The other thing is that we have to do a roll call attendance, and we also will be doing a roll call for every vote that we take during action items. So why don't I start with the roll call attendance? So Maya Plotkin Chair is here. Ken Aries?
Here.
Okay. Brian Baer?
I'm here.
Allison Borchers?
I'm here.
Chris Coleman? Okay, Chris is not here yet. Sarah Cronin? Sarah, I think your mic's on mute. I see you. Sarah, are you here? Okay, we're going to come back to Sarah. John Cummings.
Present.
All right. Charlie Donahue.
This is Sarah. I think I figured it out.
Thank you, Sarah. Charlie Donahue? Charlie, you there? I don't see him. Okay. Pam Dukeman.
Here.
Great. Abby Hanscom?
Here.
Here.
Thank you. Nancy Hyde.
Here.
Thank you. Lemma.
Here.
Josepha. I see you, Josepha. All right, Josepha, we're going to come back to you. If you figure out how to unmute, just yell out your name. Carol Lewis? Michelle Miller? Here. Thank you. Tony Mullen?
Here.
Emily is here in the room with me. And Kate Scales?
Yes, I'm here.
Here.
Great. Just going to run back up. Chris Coleman? Nope. You can see him? Oh, yeah.
I can see her.
Charlie Donahue? I think we need to actually have them say it. So if you can't, if your computer mic isn't working, if you can dial in using the phone line that we have, just put your computer mic on mute, dial in through your cell phone or your landline using the phone. That way we'll hear you. Josepha?
Here.
Thank you. Carol? Okay. I know Carol, I see Carol and Chris. So if you guys figure out how to dial in using your phones, just let us know when you're here, because we do need a verbal from you guys. So I have right now, I haven't had a roll call for Chris Coleman, Charlie Donahue, or Carol Lewis. Okay. All right, we're just going to move forward. And I think the first item on the agenda is the Eversource Utility Incentive Program. So this is, we have the opportunity to partner with Eversource early on in this project for what's you know, a really neat program that will give us incentives and with respect to sustainability efforts. And I believe on the phone we have Kim Cullinane from Eversource. Kim, are you there? Kim, we can't hear you. I do see you, but we can't hear you.
Okay, so I'm
Oh,
trying this
there you
again.
are.
Can you hear me Okay, good.
Yes,
I'm here.
we got you.
Sorry.
So so Kim is with Eversource, and she's actually, we are going to be voting on this under action items. There's an amount of money that we would that the school building committee would have to approve to move forward into the program. So we've asked Kim to join us to give us a brief overview of the program and what the benefits are for the project. So I'm going to take it away, and Kim, let you speak. Thank you.
Sure. Thank you, Maya. So good morning, everybody. Again, as Maya said, I'm with Eversource, with their energy efficiency group. I work on new construction projects. And what we do with that group and what our team does is we work on, any new construction, commercial, industrial, institutional projects. And our objective is to help, improve the energy efficiency of the project and reduce the energy usage. So that's the whole goal of the program. What we do with that program is we bring technical assistance support. So we bring in third-party support, and we also offer incentive dollars to our customer and also some to the design team. And so that money, it's always helpful to tell people where that money comes from. That money comes from our customer, which is Westwood in this case. So all the buildings that you have in town pay an electric bill and a gas bill probably. And those bills have on them an energy efficiency charge that's required by the State Department of Public Utilities. And that money goes into Mass Save, which Eversource is a part of, and we distribute that money in the form of these technical assistance support dollars and customer incentive dollars. We always encourage our customers to participate because it's your money that's coming in that we want to give back to you to help you reduce energy use. So Maya, I think maybe what I can do is just talk specifically a little bit about what we're proposing to do with this project that's a little bit different. So I'll just take another minute and talk about that. So normally with new construction, we would come in and engage with the design team and the customer during early design. We do analysis and modeling. But what we're trying to do now is come up with something that's even sort of new and improved. And it's a new pathway that we're in development of right now that will support projects like yours that are very, very early in feasibility in this case, looking at how you can get to zero net energy, how you can get your energy use super, super low so that you can, get it low enough so that you can put renewables on and have no net utility bill over the course of the year, zero net energy. So this is a kind of a new area that we're exploring. And so what we've offered to do for this project is bring in, additional technical assistance service even earlier than we normally would and on top of what we usually offer. And that's the Thornton Tomasetti proposal that is before you. So we've brought that in. We had Vamshi Gujay from Thornton Tomasetti give a brief presentation at an earlier meeting. And I think this service is really going to help the project sort of roadmap the way to get to that very, very low energy use, in terms of, how to optimize the different elements of the project. So that's the objective here. And we are offering to pay of the $21,000 that is on the table in the fee proposal from Thornton Tomasetti. Eversource is willing to pay $14,000 of that. So we're asking for a cost share of $7,000 for this piece from the town so that we can, I think this early assistance is what's going to be needed for these types of projects now and going forward to really lay out how to get to these low energy use objectives that we need to get to if we're all going to be carbon neutral and if we're going to get other buildings that way. This is the direction we need to go. So maybe I'll pause there and see if there are any questions or if there's anything else specific, Maya, that you want me to talk about.
Thank you, Kim. No, I think this is helpful. So for those of you that were at the sustainability charrette, you'll remember this presentation by Thompson. I'm not saying the name right. What's the name again? The engineering company?
Yes, Thornton Tomasetti.
Thornton Tomasetti. I was going to say Thompson Thornton. Thornton Tomasetti. So you remember that presentation, and I thought it was actually very interesting and very helpful. So I think I'm just going to open it up if anybody has any questions for Kim about the program, you know, what the $21,000 engineering fee would do. But just a reminder to identify yourself if you do have any questions. Anyone? Nope. Okay. Kim, is there anything else you want to sort of highlight in the program, or?
So I would just say this is the first piece, and then we do expect to do sort of our typical energy modeling and calculation of savings for our program. There will be a customer incentive, so there will be an incentive that we would offer, a one-time incentive that we pay on this project. We pay our incentives at the end of construction, and so I don't know what that will be yet. That's right now the program is set up that incentive is based on savings. So as we move forward, we can kind of ballpark that number, but I think where we are now, where we're so early, the most important part of the program is to help line you up to get those incentives and to meet your own objectives. So just kind of laying out, you know, we plan to work with you through the course of design. This proposal from Thornton Tomasetti actually goes into mid-design development, so sort of the mid-design point. And then Eversource will continue to work with you throughout design, and we'll be, you know, making it, we anticipate pre-approving an incentive dollar amount for this project that helps offset the incremental cost of equipment, and then making that payment at the end of construction. So, you know, with this project too, I would anticipate, since it is a zero net energy or very low energy use project, you'll be interested in post-occupancy performance as well. So we'd like to talk about that with you at a future date. So we'd like to work with you going forward, and we're excited about this project, and we hope you can be an example for others as well.
Yeah, I mean, it sounds great. I do have one question. So we have a $7,000 commitment now to kick off the engineering report, which would take us through mid-design. Will there be any additional funds that we would have to outlay or share in or participate in throughout the project, or is this $7,000 sort of the sum total of the liability for the town?
Right. So we will go ahead with our energy modeling that we usually do. If we were just to work with you like we normally do, we would normally ask you for a cost share of that energy modeling. I think in this case, because we're asking for a cost share here, we're going to waive that going forward. We are fleshing out what this whole pathway and program could look like for future customers. We haven't rolled anything formal out, so this is really uncharted territory for us in terms of what we would do to support the project if you were interested in continuing to working with us post-occupancy, for example. If there's anything additional we'd want to do, but I think that would be, you know, well down the road, like multiple years from now. So I don't know the answer. I mean, nothing in the near term, but if you wanted to participate post-occupancy, you know, we might talk about something at that point. Again, this program isn't fully fleshed out, so I don't have sort of a full offering to lay out and give you all the different pieces. So we're kind of in uncharted territory here, but I would say for sure, you know, I'm going to protect you against any additional near-term costs because you are participating at this point. So I would say, you know, no further design level cost share, but if you wanted to participate in anything post-occupancy, we could talk about it then.
Okay, and just to clarify, you mentioned that there was a fee that you might waive. That was another cost sharing fee that we would be responsible. I'm just trying to understand what that fee is.
Right. So the normally with the standard program, we would bring in a vendor and have them do an energy model, which we need for the program in order to determine the savings and what the incentives, our incentives are based on the savings. So we will still need to do that because we'll need to know what the savings are for purposes of our program. But normally there would be a cost share for our customers to do that. And I'm saying that in this particular instance, I intend to waive that because you're already paying a cost share for this component of the program. So we will cover any modeling that we need to do 100%.
Okay. Will that be noted in, this is Nancy, will that be noted in any agreement we sign?
We should probably do that. So we should probably make a note in that MOU. So there's a memorandum of understanding. I think that's also on the table for discussion today. A memorandum of understanding which kind of lays out what the standard program offering is and what we pay for and what the cost shares are. So we should note on that we're doing something a little bit different here with this upfront work where we're asking for a cost share, and that the modeling will not require a cost share. So we can make a note on that agreement.
That would be great.
Maya, this is Chris, just to let you know I finally connected.
Oh, great, Chris. Thank you. Carol, are you, did you get the mic working? Carol Lewis? I still don't hear her.
I think she's having trouble.
All right. Yeah, okay. All right. Okay, so does anyone have any additional questions for Kim? As I mentioned, this is going to be something that we're going to vote. We need to vote later on to approve the funding for this. So now's the time for questions. No?
Maya, this is Nancy again. I don't have a question, but I do want to say that during our sustainability workshop, when we heard about this and saw some of the capabilities, it's very impressive how this will be a useful tool to help us make decisions. Sometimes it's, it can be challenging being the first one, but I think in this case, it may prove very beneficial so we can really gauge how measures can be priced out and we can see the benefits and the costs associated with them, so the decisions we make will be well informed.
Yes, absolutely. I agree, Nancy. And I also think that what's exciting about this is, we've always said that this project is probably going to be a model for future town projects, or at least will inform future town projects. And I think with this program, that informing will expand outside of Westwood, which would be, I think, an exciting element of that, just to sort of assist moving sustainability and programming forward. So, but yeah, as Nancy pointed out, and as I mentioned, the presentation at the charrette was very helpful. And if anybody wants a copy of that, Kim, you would be able to provide that, right? The one that Thornton Thomas said he gave us at the charrette?
Yes, I could do that.
So we could certainly circulate that. Does anybody else have any questions or comments? Any discussion on this? No? Okay. Well, Kim, thank you very much for joining us. We appreciate it. And, I think that it's helpful, and so far it's been a pleasure working with Eversource, so hopefully we will continue.
Fabulous. All right. Thank you, Maya.
All right. Thanks, Kim. Okay. So, you know what? I skipped over the chair's report because I wanted to get to Kim because she was on the phone. So I'm going to back up a little bit. So the chair's report, the only item I have to report is that since we've met, we did have the community forum on March 5th where the architects presented the short list of options to the public. I think we had a fairly good turnout. It wasn't quite as large as some of our prior community forums, but certainly there was a lot of engagement in the room, a lot of good questions. I think that I felt everyone seemed to be, pretty happy with the short list. We did have participants put sticky notes on boards with various questions, which I think we've collated. Rob, is that right? Have we collected all that information into a document?
Yes. I don't know if we've published that yet, but we did collect that information and we can share it.
Okay, great. Yeah, I don't think I've seen that come through. So as soon as we have all that, we will certainly share it. But just, briefly walking by the notes and taking a look at them, it seems like people seem to like the designs. There are some concerns, just in general about building, but I didn't see anything that was, you know, very much against it. I don't know if other people who took a look at those have any other thoughts on that, or on the community forum in general and how it went. No? Okay. All right, so moving forward, we are moving now to the update and the preliminary design program. So just a reminder, this is the first submission that we will have to the MSBA. Doran Whittier has put together the PDP, or the preliminary design program, which you all should have received earlier. I think it was late last week. And it's a very comprehensive document. It includes the education plan that the school committee voted to approve at our last meeting. It also includes the short list of options. And I'm going to turn it over to Rob, and he's going to do a presentation on the PDP.
Great, thanks. So the majority of this presentation you may have seen before, but it provides a good overview of the work that we've done. So we'll walk through that and then see if anyone has questions along the way or at the end. One second, let me get my slide working here. So summary of work to date, options review, evaluation process, cost, and shortlist, and then the vote, and then we'll talk through some next steps. So work to date, as you guys are aware, we've done the site and building assessments for Hanlon, Deerfield, and Sheehan. All of those existing conditions reports are included in the PDP binder. We've also completed the educational planning piece of this portion of the study, which included principal interviews and educational walkthroughs. We had a number of visioning workshops, principals workshops, meetings with the community. We also did some school tours, visited Needham, Millis, and Milford elementary schools. And a lot of that information all helped to put together the educational program piece and a vision for Westwood and where we wanted to go. And so that educational programming piece is also in the PDP binder through a significant narrative that speaks to the needs and desires for what gets included in a future school. We also all along the way have been doing community outreach with the public to bring everyone up to speed as the study has been progressing. And we've gotten feedback at every one of these meetings on the work that's been done, and that has also helped to inform the direction for the school project. We've also presented to the Board of Selectmen and school committee and school building committees. Finally, we developed a series of options, and we'll go through those in a minute. Evaluated each of the options through a set of criteria, put together cost estimates, and then shortlisted them. This is just some of the few images of the visioning sessions and the principals workshops, the professional development meetings where that we used to get information from the public and faculty and staff on the direction that Westwood is interested in going in. So just providing an overview of the options, we looked at 3 different enrollment scenarios, 315 students, which would be for the Hanlon school only, 560 students for the Hanlon and Deerfield consolidation, and 685 students for Hanlon and Sheehan consolidation. Under the 315 student scenario, we looked at renovation of the Hanlon School, addition renovation, or new construction. And then for the Hanlon and Deerfield enrollment, we looked at additions and renovations or new construction. And for the Hanlon and Sheehan, addition renovations and new construction. And then down below them, the hieroglyphics that you see there, those are just the nomenclatures that we use for each of the different sets of options. And we'll go through those in a minute. So these were the three options for the Hanlon only scenario. So on the left was the base repair, where we took all of the recommendations from the site and building assessment and incorporated it into a base repair, capital improvement plan concept. The second was additions and renovations, so that's taken into consideration the actual enrollment growth that's planned, and then the all new at the Hanlon site, so an all new construction. Under the 560 enrollment, we looked at an addition renovation concept, and then a couple variations of new construction on the Hanlon site, just different configurations to explore which layout of the classroom clusters and adjacencies would work best, and brought it up for discussion. And then closing out the Hanlon Deerfield 560, there were two other variations of layouts that we looked at, just again exploring the relationships of each of the classroom clusters, or the small learning communities, if you will. And then on the far right was an addition renovation at Hanlon for the 685 student capacity. We also looked at an addition renovation on the Sheehan site on the far left, as well as new construction at the Hanlon site, still at the 685 student capacity. And then going back to the Sheehan site, we looked at all new construction on the Sheehan site in three different scenarios, or three different configurations, just essentially trying to explore how they would fit on the site, and the available land that's there, and the restrictions that are in place. What different ways could we fit a building there, and what implications does that have to parking and circulation and fields? Again, these were primarily, test fits to see what fit on the site, and then also to establish a level of comparison between each one to enable further discussion and evaluation into the next phase. So through the evaluation process, we took each of these different scenarios, and there was a number of evaluation criteria that were asked of each of the alternatives, looking at education, community, site, sustainability, traffic, logistics, construction impact, and cost. And so the working group, the school building committee, the sub-evaluation committee looked at each of these questions and in relation to each of the options, and put together a matrix that where each option was evaluated in relation to one another, and put together this scoring system. So 5 would score best, with 1 being poor, and looked at each option through the lens of the criteria there. And so these are each of the options going across the top. And then in purple here, we're flagged the recommended shortlist after the evaluation was complete. And these were essentially the ones that scored the best. And the ones with the stars are ones that are required by the MSBA to continue into the next phase. So again, this is just this, first phase of a multi-phase study. And so what this is saying is, okay, we've looked at these 15 options, and we think these 7 are the ones worthy of looking into a bit further into the next phase, which is the PSR, or preliminary schematic report.
Rob, can you help me go back to that slide? This is Nancy. Just refresh my memory, because it's been a while since we looked at this slide. You mentioned the 2 stars, the MSBA requirement, and I understand the reno only at Hanlon, but column 4, Hanlon, Sheehan, add reno, it's just not coming back to me why this would be a required version.
Yeah, so the MSBA really wants to see one example, at least one example of a renovation only, an addition renovation, and a new construction. And so we are looking at keeping those so that we can bring that into the next phase and continue looking at that. They don't.
Column 4 then, Rob, is the highest scoring add reno option. That's why I picked.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
Thank
you.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
And then on the options cost comparison, we shipped out a package of each of the options and preliminary kind of outline specifications that identify, the baseline of what should be included in a school project, a certain amount of insulation, some sort of standard for, what type of exterior materials and roofing and windows and so forth. And we shipped those packages out to a cost estimator to review. And they came back with these cost estimates. And so what you see here across the bottom are in bold are the project costs. So this is construction cost and soft costs together. And then in addition to that is the NZE, which is net zero energy. So there's a value associated with including geothermal systems and triple pane windows. For example, we know that in an effort to achieve a certain level of net zero energy, there's typically an additional cost associated with achieving that. And so that's just recognizing this additional value in the form of a placeholder that's consistent among each of the options. And really, this is just a way to be able to look at each option in an apples to apples comparison. And so when we look at these options, you can begin to see some similarities among each one. And the let's see here. So, for example, all of these 560, if you look at just the green tabs, the 560s are very similar to one another. The 685s are pretty close to one another in terms of cost. And in fact, some of the addition renovation options were in fact a little bit more expensive due to the phasing and temporary classrooms aspect that the new construction don't have. So looking at the shortlisted options, so what's not shown on the screen is the base repair, the option 1, renovation, capital improvements only. We don't have a visual for that, but we've noted it here in the upper right-hand corner. And then, so option 4, the add reno for Hanlon at 685 students. All new at Hanlon, 315 students. All new at Hanlon, 560 students. All new at Hanlon, 560 students, just a different configuration. All new at 685 at Hanlon, and then all new at Sheehan for 685. So these are the options that we will continue to look at in the next phase.
Rob, can you go back
Yes.
there? So it looks like the plan for number 11 is, oh, I see. Okay, never mind, forget it.
Okay.
Carry on.
So just kind of summarizing the this PDP binder submission to the MSBA. This is the table of contents. So there's an introduction that gives an overview of the project and the work that we've done. It's essentially kind of like an executive summary, if you will. The educational programming piece, that is a lot of the work that Emily has been doing, putting that together. The initial space summary, so that is basically a spreadsheet of each of the spaces in the proposed project, or proposed under each of the different scenarios, the enrollment scenarios, which tells, square footages for every single space in the building. The evaluation of existing conditions, those are all of the reports, mechanical, electrical, structural, hazardous materials reports, all on each of the existing buildings. The site development requirements just speaks to the existing conditions of the sites and the needs for and desires for future site development. So, separation of parking from bus loops and parent drop-off, and access to fields and outdoor learning spaces, those kinds of things. And then preliminary evaluation of alternatives. So that speaks to the each of the alternatives that were reviewed and the process that we had gone through in evaluating each of those. And then local actions and approval certification. So that's just documenting, each of the meetings that have been held, both by the school building committee and the school committee, and the community meetings from the start of this phase up to now. The MSBA wants to see documentation and votes of each of those meetings, and so we summarize that, and then also include all of the minutes in the appendix. And then the appendix, has, for example, the title deeds of the properties and the meeting minutes and all of the kind of like the backup supporting documentation that is referenced in the rest of the binder. Somebody have any questions on this? Okay. So with that, I don't know if we want to wait and go through the next steps before a vote is taken, or you want me to finish up the slides here, Maya?
Yeah, so we have action items under, we have a vote listed under our action items. So why don't we go ahead and finish up? The one thing I wanted to say, particularly about the educational program, is that the district and, Emily and Lemma and Abby did a tremendous job with the ed program, and they worked super hard on it, and it really came together with Doran Whittier's help and with Compass's help. And I just wanted to acknowledge that, because that was a lot of work. It was a heavy lift. It's a big part of the PDP. It's driving how we are building the building. And I know it was a lot of work, so I just want to thank them for that work. And I think the PDP itself looks great. Rob, my only comment is that my phone number in there is an old number, so I'll connect with you and give you a new number.
Okay.
But other than that, I didn't have any comments to the PDP. I think it looks great. I know that you guys worked really hard on that. We appreciate that. And I don't know if anybody else, before we talk about next steps, if anybody else has comments or questions about the PDP. Rob, when is the submission going? When are we actually submitting it?
We are hoping to have everything printed and ready to go by the end of day on Tuesday. If not, it'll be the very first thing on a Wednesday morning.
Hey, man, this is Tony Mullen. Hey, guys, I have a question. I saw that the MSBA postponed their statement of interest period, for example.
Yes.
Is there any communication on other postponements?
I haven't heard of. Oh, go ahead, Tim. You can take that.
Well, I've spoken with Mary Piketty this week a couple of times, and so the statement of interest is kind of the initial thing, and I think they're just giving districts. That's more related to districts getting their act together than the MSBA's concern over that. I think. I mean, being able to handle them. I think that so right now their plan is to stay on schedule with all their submissions. They still have to figure out, how they would do things like designer interviews and things like that. I think but they don't have that scheduled for another couple of months now. So so basically it's right now it's game on. I mean, basically they're not going to be the reason why we or any district is delayed as of now. That this obviously is very fluid, could change next week, but right now they're doing a lot of things remote. So the PDP, for instance, they'll want electronically because they're working remotely as well, and a lot of the people will need to be looking at it in pieces. But so no, we're still moving forward. And they want they want us to. They don't want to be seen as the ones not encouraging that.
Thank you.
Any other questions on the PDP? Any comments? Nope. All right, Rob, why don't we go to the next steps?
Okay. So the next phase is the preferred schematic report, and that goes, starting next Wednesday into June, with a submission in July. And so through that process, we're going to evaluate, these remaining concepts. We're going to develop them a little bit further, and then from those concepts, develop and identify a preferred option that you'll move forward with into the next phase, which is the schematic design phase. So some of the things that we're going to be looking at further is, what's the impact from redistricting? There is a redistricting consultant on board that's been preparing a report, and so that'll be the very next topic of discussion. I believe that there's a presentation that they'll be giving soon. There's what are the differences in the design of the different options? There's a number of concepts that we've put together. Just kind of getting into the next level of evaluation of the relationships of the different spaces. What happens to the building that's left out, or buildings that are left out through this process? And then looking at the cost estimates a little bit further and developing those. So looking at the schedule, again, the next Wednesday is our submission to MSBA. The 7th, there's a school committee meeting on redistricting. On the 17th, there's a school building committee where you'll review the selection criteria. We will also be giving a kind of a summary presentation of sustainability at that 17th meeting. Just kind of a big picture look at that. On April 30th, there'll be a community presentation on redistricting. On the 29th of May, another school building committee meeting, which is when we'll review the recommended options with costs. June 2nd, community presentation on a preferred option with costs. June 11th, is the school committee meeting on enrollment and redistricting. And then June 12th is the school building committee voting on a preferred option, leading up to a submission in the first week in July.
Can I,
That's all I've got.
say, Rob, this is Nancy.
Mm-hmm.
The community meetings, have we started to think about how those would be designed to be held virtually?
So yeah, we've had initial discussions. As Rob mentioned, the first one is on April 30th. So we have a little bit of time. I think that for now we should all just start thinking about it and what are ways we can do it. I think between, we clearly need community buy-in to this project, and the best way to get that is through a community forum. But if we can't meet in person by April 30th, so April 30th is the redistricting one. June 2nd is the final option presentation. If we can't meet in person, then we can, think about ways to do it, whether it's a live stream with people real time asking questions or something like that. But, we can certainly start talking about it. But I think for now, let's just start thinking about different ways. We'll talk to Westwood Media Center and hopefully come up a way that we can ensure that we do have community buy-in for the project.
Yeah, one, so you alluded to one idea. Another thought that we had was, so that we'll continue to look at is doing like a webinar where people could sign up in advance, submit get signed up with their email address. And I think that might offer an opportunity for people to participate a little bit more than something like this go-to meeting that we're doing right now. But yeah, there's a few different ways of approaching it, and so we'll continue to look at that and talk it over, see what makes the most sense.
This is Chen. That if we do the combination of webinar, which would allow people online to be able to submit questions, and then we could also continue doing the Westwood Media broadcast that would allow a fair amount of access real time, and we may have to think about in terms of feedback, what are the different methods that people can provide feedback to the committee, and then obviously anything that we do, if when we have Westwood Media, it will be recorded and then also posted online. So those are easily doable options at the moment.
Hi, this is Emily.
Hi, this is Emily. Yeah, I think these are good ideas. I'm just going to suggest right now that you let us think about this internally. We're working on all kinds of plans about open meetings for a number of different purposes, so we'll take care of this.
Sounds good.
All right. Is there any, Rob, I don't know if there's any more slides.
Yeah, that's it.
Are we all, that's it? All right, any final thoughts on the PDP that we'll be submitting on Tuesday? Nope. Okay, so we're gonna move on to action items. So the first action item is a vote to approve the minutes of January 17, 2020 of our meeting. Can I get a motion to approve those minutes?
So moved.
Just identify yourself. Can you just say who you are, who's moving?
Tony Mullen. So moved.
I get a second?
Emily, second.
John
Emily,
Cummings,
second.
Okay. Now I need to do, any discussion? No, okay, I'm gonna do a roll call. We have to do a roll call for each vote. So, Maya Plotkin votes yes. Ken Aries?
Yes.
Brian Baer?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Chris Coleman?
Yes.
Sarah Cronin?
Yes.
John Cummings?
Yes.
Charlie Donahue? I don't know if you've joined us. Pam Dukeman,
Yes.
Abby,
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy Hyde,
Yes.
Lemma John Baptiste,
Yes.
Josepha Jowdy,
Yes.
Carol Lewis,
Yes.
and Carol. So Carol is present. So I'm just going to mark her as present. Okay.
I just said yes. Can you not hear me?
No, I know. No, I can. I'm telling John that we also are marking you as
Okay.
present. We didn't have that earlier. Michelle Miller,
Yes.
Tony Mullen,
Yes.
Emily Parks,
Yes.
and Kate Scales.
Yes.
Okay, great. So we have the motion carries. The next vote is to approve the minutes of February 13, 2020. Can I get a motion to approve?
So moved, Tony Mullen.
Can I get a second?
Second, Josepha Jowdy.
Any discussion? Okay, Maya Plotkin says yes. Ken?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Sarah? Yes. John?
Yes.
Charlie's not here. Pam?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy? Yes. Lemma?
Yes.
Josepha?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Tony? Tony? We've lost Tony.
Yes.
Oh, there we go. Emily?
Yes.
Yes.
And Kate?
Yes.
Great. Third vote. We need a vote to authorize the OPM to submit the preliminary design program as prepared by Dorr and Whittier. So can I get a motion?
This is Carol Lewis, so moved.
Can I get a second?
Second, Josepha Jowdy.
Okay, Maya votes. Oh, any discussion? No. Maya votes yes. Ken?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Sarah? Yes. John?
Yes.
Charlie's not here. Pam?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Lemma?
Yes.
Josepha?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Emily? Yes. And Kate?
Yes.
All right. Motion carried. Next vote is to authorize the school building committee chair to sign the memorandum of understanding with Eversource and associated paperwork related to the Eversource Utility Incentive Program for the Hanlon project. And I'm going to note that we will sign this as amended, as we discussed earlier, where the amendment will include language that the energy modeling cost that is typically shared between Eversource and a town will be waived by Eversource. So can I get a motion to approve?
So moved.
Is that-
Nancy.
Okay, can I get a second?
Second, Josepha Jowdy.
Thank you. Maya Plotkin votes yes. Ken?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Charlie's not here. Pam?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Lemma?
Yes.
Josepha?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Michelle? Michelle?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Yes.
And Kate?
Yes.
Okay. Now we need to vote to approve the funding of the $7,000 for this Eversource Early Energy Study as part of the agreement with Eversource. We have a bucket of unallocated money that we are able to use for this, so this will not really impact the budget at this time. So I just wanted to put that out there. So can I get a motion to approve the $7,000 cost?
This is Emily, so moved.
It's Emily, so moved.
Second.
Can I get a, and who was that? Was that Josepha? Sorry, who did the second?
I did. Jowdy.
Thank you. All right, Maya Plotkin votes yes. Ken?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Yes.
Sarah? Sarah?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Charlie's not here. Pam?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Lemma?
Yes.
Josepha?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
Kate?
Yes.
Okay. Last action item is approval of the invoices for the period ending February 29th, 2020. And those amounts are, so we have one invoice from Compass Project Management for $18,670, one invoice for Duran Whittier for $61,300, and one invoice from Westwood Media Center for $500 for a total of $80,470. Can I get a motion to approve these three invoices for a total of $80,470?
This is Chris moved.
Thank you, Chris.
Ken
Can I get a
Arick,
second? Thanks, Ken. Maya Plotkin votes yes. Ken?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Allison?
Yes.
Chris?
Yes.
Sarah?
Yes.
Sarah? Oh, thank you.
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Charlie's not here. Pam?
Yes.
Abby?
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy?
Yes.
Lemma?
Yes.
Josepha?
Yes.
Carol?
Yes.
Michelle?
Yes.
Tony?
Yes.
Emily?
Yes.
And Kate?
Yes.
Okay, that's it for the action items. Is there any new business? Nope. Okay, can I get a motion to adjourn right on time?
This is Emily, so moved.
It's Emily, so moved.
Motion.
Okay,
This is
second?
Allison with the second.
Thank you. All right, meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. I know it's very awkward. Oh, I have to do what?
I think we have to
Oh my
vote
God.
on.
Roll call. Yes, I have to do a roll call. All right. I vote yes. Ken,
Yes.
Brian,
Yes.
Allison,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Sarah,
Yes.
John.
Outstanding job, yes.
Charlie's not here. Pam,
Yes.
Abby.
Yes.
Yes.
Nancy,
Yes. Stay safe, everyone.
Mama,
Yes.
Josefa,
Yes.
Carol.
Yes.
Michelle,
Yes.
Tony,
Yes.
Emily,
Yes.
and Kate.
Yes.
Okay, now the meeting is adjourned. Thank you, everyone. I know it's awkward and weird, but we did it. Maybe it'll be less awkward next time. And I hope that everybody stays safe and 6 feet from everyone else. And we will be back. We'll communicate what we are doing in terms of the meetings going forward at a later date. But thank you, everybody, and we appreciate your time, as always.